Humanity was dying, and everyone knew it. For months, a powerful alien enemy had attacked every human world. Cities were burning, colonies were falling, and Earth's last defense lines were close to collapse. The United Earth Command had moved underground into a deep bunker, hidden far below the surface. The air was cold and heavy inside the control room, filled with fear and silence. Every screen showed the same message again and again. Enemy fleet advancing. Commander Rylan entered the room, watching everyone with tired eyes. He was young, but he had already seen too much war. His uniform was damaged, his face covered with dust and smoke. But still, he walked with purpose because he knew humanity needed hope. The Supreme General looked around at the officers and said in a weak voice, "We have no ships left to send. We have no allies. We have no time." The truth was painful, and everyone lowered their heads. Rylan spoke quietly. "There is one option left." The room became completely silent. Everyone knew what he meant, but no one wanted to say it. The Araxes, the most dangerous species in the galaxy. A species known for destruction, violence, and brutal wars. No one had contacted them in 300 years. Every story about them was filled with fear. They were not friends, not allies, not negotiators. They were predators, apex beings, unstoppable in battle. The general shook his head. "We cannot call them. They hate every other species. They might kill us." Rylan looked at the hologram of Earth, burning from orbit. "General, they might kill us," he said softly, "but the enemy will kill us for sure. We will die anyway if we do nothing." The officers looked at each other, fear in their eyes. One whispered, "Contacting the Araxes, it is suicide." Rylan replied, "Not contacting them is also suicide." The room filled with tension. Every heartbeat felt loud. Every second felt heavy. Humanity was standing on the very edge of extinction. At last, the Supreme General closed his eyes and gave the order. "Send the message." The technicians immediately started preparing the transmission. It was a single desperate call, a signal that carried humanity's last hope into deep space. A signal reaching for monsters. A signal born from fear and courage together. Rylan watched the message leave the system. His hands were shaking. If the Araxes became angry, they could wipe out humanity in minutes. If they ignored the message, humanity had no future left. But if they responded, just one small chance existed. Hours passed slowly. The enemy fleet moved closer and closer to Earth. Everyone in the bunker felt their breaths tightening. Some prayed. Some cried silently. Some stared at the screens without blinking. They waited for death, or for a miracle. Suddenly, one screen flashed. A bright red signal appeared. A technician shouted, "Commander, we are receiving a reply. It's from the Araxes." Everyone froze. Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. The bunker felt like it stopped breathing. The signal opened with a deep, ancient voice. A voice that felt like thunder in the bones. A voice that belonged to a species feared by the entire galaxy. "Humanity," the voice growled. "Why do you call us?" The officers stared at the screen in terror. Rylan stepped forward. His heart was beating like a drum. He knew this moment would decide the fate of Earth. He whispered, "Because we have no hope left." The Arax's voice replied, slow and cold. "Then speak. Let us hear your final reason." The screen darkened, and the world held its breath. The bunker fell into complete silence. The Arax's voice echoed again, deep, cold, ancient. A voice that felt like it came from the center of a dying star. "Humanity, why do you call us?" The officers looked at Commander Rylan, their faces pale. No one dared to speak. No one even dared to breathe too loudly. Humanity had just awakened the most feared species in the galaxy. Rylan stepped forward, his throat dry. He knew he had only one chance. If he said the wrong words, the Araxes might end humanity themselves. He took a slow breath and said, "We are facing extinction. Our worlds are falling. Our people are dying. We ask for your help." For a long moment, there was no reply, only the sound of static. Only the sound of fear. Then the screen lit up. A massive shadow appeared. Twisted armor. Glowing markings, sharp edges like blades. Two eyes burning like molten fire. The Arax's leader had arrived. Vorik Tan, the apex warlord. A name whispered in legends. A being that entire civilizations feared. Every officer in the bunker took a step back. The presence of Vorik felt heavy, like a giant hand pressing on their chest. Vorik spoke slowly. So, humans still exist, and you dare call us. The ones your kind once feared more than death itself. Rylan kept his voice steady. We call you because you're the only species strong enough to stop the enemy. Vorik tilted his head slightly, studying him. Your enemy destroys your worlds. Why should their destruction matter to us? Rylan felt his heartbeat thunder in his ears. This was the moment, the deciding moment. He answered, because if we fall, they will come for you next. The room filled with whispers. Some officers panicked. Don't threaten them. Stop him. But Vorik only stared deeper into Rylan's eyes, like he was searching his soul. Then Vorik laughed, a deep, rumbling laugh that shook the entire bunker. Human, you speak with courage, or maybe desperation. He leaned closer to the screen. Tell me, why should the strongest species in the galaxy help the weakest? Rylan clenched his fists. Our strength is not in our bodies, he said. It is in our will. Vorik's eyes glowed brighter. Your will. Rylan nodded. Humans fight even when hope dies. We stand even when defeat is certain. That is why we are still alive. For the first time, Vorik did not answer immediately. He studied Rylan carefully. He studied the room. He studied the fear and the courage mixed inside humanity. Finally, he said, Very well, I will consider your request. The bunker filled with gasps and sighs of relief. But Vorik raised a hand, stopping them. But know this, he growled. The Araxes do not give anything for free. If we help you, humanity will owe us. You will pay a price. Rylan nodded. We accept any cost. Vorik leaned back. You say that now. But few survive the price of my help. The screen flickered, and then something unexpected happened. A signal from deep space appeared on the radar. Huge, powerful, ancient. A massive Araxes ship was approaching Earth. The whole bunker shook as the ship entered orbit. Its size was larger than any human dreadnought. Its armor black like night, glowing with red symbols. A ship made for war and destruction. The officers panicked. Are they attacking us? Did we make them angry? Rylan stared at the rising energy signature. No, this is something else, he whispered. Vorik appeared again on the screen. My scout ship arrives now. They will judge your world with their own eyes. Your fate will be decided soon. Before anyone could answer, the transmission cut. The Araxes had arrived, and humanity's trial had begun. The Araxes scout ship moved silently through space. It was huge, dark, and covered with glowing red lines that looked like veins of fire. Every human ship in orbit backed away in fear. No one wanted to anger the deadliest species in the galaxy. Inside the bunker, alarms rang again and again. Unknown vessel entering Earth's low orbit. Energy reading is extreme. Commander Rylan stared at the screen. He had never seen a ship so terrifying. It looked less like a machine and more like a giant living beast. General Morrow whispered, This could be the end. If they decide we are weak, they will destroy us. The Araxes ship sent a message. Prepare for inspection. Do not resist. Everyone in the bunker froze. Inspection. What does that mean? Rylan understood. They want to see if humanity deserves to live. A bright beam shot from the Araxes ship toward Earth. The beam did not attack. It formed a portal, spinning and glowing like a burning red vortex. From the portal, 3 Araxes warriors materialized on Earth's surface. They were enormous, towering over every soldier. Their bodies were covered in black armor that grew like bone plates. Their helmets had glowing slits shaped like angry eyes. Human soldiers aimed their rifles nervously. But Rylan shouted, Lower your weapons. Any attack will doom us. The Araxes warriors walked forward. Each step shook the ground slightly. Their presence felt like pressure inside the chest. Humans instinctively stepped back. The lead warrior spoke through a deep metallic voice. "We will judge your strength. Show us your world." Rylan approached carefully. "I am Commander Rylan. I will guide you." The warrior studied him in silence, then nodded once. "You show no fear." "Good." Rylan didn't respond. He was afraid, more than ever before. But he knew he had to hide it. Humanity needed to appear strong. The Araxes moved through the destroyed city. They saw burning towers, collapsed buildings, and injured civilians hiding in shelters. One Araxes warrior stopped near a wounded child. The child looked up with shaking hands. The giant warrior stared down silently. Human soldiers grabbed their weapons in panic. But the warrior simply observed the child's courage, then continued walking. They passed soldiers trying to lift debris from a collapsed hospital. The Araxes watched without speaking. Rylan could feel the pressure growing. What were they thinking? Were they impressed or disappointed? Suddenly, a loud explosion shook the street. Enemy drones descended from the sky, firing beams. Human soldiers rushed forward to defend the civilians. Without thinking, Rylan ran into the open to pull a young girl away from the falling debris. A drone aimed at him. It fired. He felt everything slow down. He thought he was about to die. But then, a shadow passed over him like a dark storm. An Araxes warrior jumped in front of the blast. The beam hit the warrior's armor, shattering the drone instantly. The warrior looked back at Rylan. "You protected the weak without hesitation," he said. "You acted before fear. This interests us." Rylan was out of breath, but nodded. "We protect each other. Always." The Araxes warrior touched his armor and sent a signal skyward. Above them, the Araxes ship opened like a giant mechanical flower. A new message came from Vorkten himself. "Your actions have been witnessed. Your courage is noted. But your fate is not decided yet." Rylan felt cold. "What must we do next?" Vork's voice grew deeper, darker. "You will face the trial of fire. No species has passed it. If humanity survives, we will consider alliance." Human officers reacted with shock. The trial of fire? No one returns from that. Rylan looked at the sky. The Araxes ship glowed with deadly red light. There was no turning back. Humanity had stepped into the jaws of the most dangerous species. And their true test was only beginning. The Araxes ship opened its massive lower gates. A red beam of light shot down toward Earth, forming a spiral-shaped portal. The air shook with deep vibrations. It felt like standing beside a volcano ready to erupt. Commander Rylan looked at the glowing vortex and tightened his fists. He knew he had no choice. If humanity refused the trial, the Araxes would see them as cowards and wipe them out. General Mara placed a hand on his shoulder. "Rylan, are you sure about this?" He nodded slowly. "If we don't go, the war is already lost." A small team of elite soldiers stepped forward. They were exhausted, injured, and tired from endless fighting. But each one raised their head with determination. They were humanity's last strength. The lead Araxes warrior pointed toward the portal. "The trial of fire awaits. Survive, and you prove your value." Rylan took a deep breath and stepped inside the portal. His team followed close behind. The Araxes warriors entered last, and the portal collapsed behind them. They arrived on the Araxes' homeworld. The ground beneath them was black stone, cracked with glowing red rivers of lava. The air was heavy, thick, almost impossible to breathe. The sky burned with swirling clouds of ash and lightning. Rylan felt his chest tighten. Human bodies were not built for this world. The gravity was twice as strong. His legs felt like they were carrying heavy metal plates. One soldier gasped, "Sir, we won't last long here." Rylan looked around. "We have to. If we fall, humanity falls." The Araxes warriors watched silently. Their armor glowed with fire-like patterns under the dark sky. They seemed comfortable in this hellish world. It was clear why no one survived the trial. Vorkten's voice echoed from above. "The trial begins. You will cross the path of ash, reach the spire of judgment before the third red sun rises. Rylan looked at the horizon. There stood a massive tower made of black stone. Its top disappeared into red storm clouds. The distance looked impossible. A soldier whispered, "It's miles away." Before anyone could panic, the ground cracked open. Lava erupted behind them with a loud roar, forcing the humans to start running. Their boots slipped on hot ash. Breathing became harder, but they kept moving. Suddenly, a giant creature crawled out from a pit ahead. A beast with 6 legs, glowing eyes, and skin made of molten rock. It roared, shaking the ground. The Arax's warrior beside them said nothing. He simply watched. It was clear. The humans must face this alone. Rylan raised his weapon. "Spread out. Aim for the joints." The creature charged, molten lava dripping from its jaws. 2 soldiers fired at its legs. The blasts barely slowed it. It swung its massive tail, knocking one soldier across the rocks. Rylan ran forward, dodging flames. He climbed onto the beast's back, gripping burning hot stone. Pain shot up his arms, but he didn't let go. He aimed his rifle at a glowing weak spot near the creature's spine. He fired. The beast screamed and collapsed, shaking the ground. The Arax's warrior nodded slowly. "You show skill and courage." Rylan helped his injured soldier stand. "We keep moving." Hours passed. Their skin burned. Their lungs ached. Their legs trembled. But they kept going. At last, they reached the base of the Spire of Judgment. Its entrance was a giant door shaped like the mouth of a beast. The final test awaited. Vorik 10 appeared through a hologram of fire. "Humans, you have survived. But one challenge remains." Rylan stood tall despite the exhaustion. "What is the final challenge?" Vorik's eyes glowed brighter. "You must show us your true nature. Strength alone is nothing. Will alone is nothing. The final trial will reveal your soul." The door slowly opened, releasing a blast of hot wind. Rylan stepped forward. Whatever waited inside, humanity would face it. The trial of fire was not over. It was only beginning. The giant stone door opened slowly. Heat rushed out like a living creature. A wave of burning air hit Rylan and his team. It felt like standing in front of the engine of a starship ready to explode. Inside the Spire of Judgment, the light was red and dim. The walls were covered with ancient carvings of giant warriors and strange beasts. The floor was uneven, broken, sharp. Everything in this place was designed to hurt or kill. Rylan took a careful step forward. Every instinct told him to turn back. But turning back meant humanity's death. So he walked deeper into the darkness. His team followed, weak and struggling. Their uniforms burned, their weapons damaged. But their eyes still held fire. High above the spire, Vorik 10 watched through a glowing orb of light. A council of Arax's elders stood beside him. One elder growled, "This trial will show if the humans deserve survival." Vorik's gaze narrowed. They have spirit, but spirit alone does not win wars. Inside the spire, the final trial revealed itself. A long bridge stretched across a massive pit of lava. The bridge was broken in places, cracked and unstable. Below it, the lava roared like a hungry ocean. Rylan studied the bridge carefully. "It'll collapse if we run," he said. His team nodded. They moved step by step, balancing carefully. Halfway across, a loud crack echoed through the chamber. Part of the bridge crumbled. A soldier slipped. Rylan grabbed his hand just in time. The soldier dangled over the molten pit, screaming. "Hang on!" Rylan shouted. His arms burned. His muscles trembled. The heat rose from below like fire trying to swallow them. The Araxes, watching from above, whispered among themselves. "Why help the weak one? He slows them down. They should let him fall." But Vorik raised a hand, silencing them. "Watch!" Rylan pulled with everything he had. Finally, he dragged the soldier back onto the bridge. Both collapsed from exhaustion. Another soldier asked quietly, "Commander, why risk your life for me?" Rylan answered without hesitation. "Because we don't leave anyone behind. The words echoed through the chamber. And above, Vorik's eyes narrowed with interest. "No species says that," he murmured. "No species except us." The final chamber awaited. The door opened to reveal a massive room filled with black crystal pillars. In the center stood a huge Araxes warrior, twice as large as the others. His armor burned with glowing red symbols. His voice shook the chamber. "I am Carthan, guardian of the spire. To earn our respect, you must face me." Rylan tightened his grip on his damaged weapon. "We cannot fight you. You would kill us in seconds." Carthan stepped forward. "That is the point. The trial is death. Only the strongest survive." Rylan lowered his weapon. "No, that is not our way." He stood in front of his team and said firmly, "We survive together, not alone." Carthan froze. His burning eyes studied Rylan. Then, slowly, the giant warrior lowered his own weapon. "You speak truth and bravery." The chamber walls trembled as Vorik Ten's image appeared through a massive flame portal. "Enough," Vorik said. "The humans have shown strength, loyalty, and will. The trial is complete." Rylan and his team collapsed to their knees in exhaustion, but relief washed over them. They had done what no species had ever done. Vorik continued, "You have passed, and now the Araxes will help humanity." The team gasped. Rylan's eyes widened with shock. Vorik raised one hand. Behind him, thousands of Araxes warships lit up across their homeworld skies. Massive engines roared like thunder. From this moment, Vorik declared, "Your war is our war." The chamber shook with power. Rylan felt tears in his eyes. For the first time since the war began, humanity had hope, but the war ahead would not be easy. Vorik's voice darkened. "Prepara y ursalvas humans." The enemy that hunts you is far more dangerous than you know. The Araxes warship Vorgith Prime carried Rylan and his team back toward Earth. Through the windows, endless Araxes fleets moved beside them like giant shadows. Their engines glowed red, lighting up the darkness of space. Rylan stood quietly, staring out. He still could not believe what was happening. Humanity was now traveling with the deadliest species in the galaxy. Not as prey, but as partners. Yet something felt wrong. Vorik Ten had said the enemy was more dangerous than you know. Rylan needed answers. Vorik entered the command hall. His heavy steps echoed like thunder. The Araxes warriors bowed as he passed. Rylan gathered all his courage. "What did you mean, Vorik? Why did you say the enemy is more dangerous?" Vorik turned, his burning eyes staring deeply into Rylan. "Because your enemy is not attacking for power. They're attacking out of fear." "Fear of us?" Rylan asked, confused. "No," Vorik said. "Fear of what humanity might become." Rylan felt his blood run cold. "What do you mean?" Vorik activated a hologram in the center of the room. A star map appeared, but half the stars were crossed out in red. Entire systems gone. Entire galaxy silent. Rylan stepped back in shock. "What happened to them?" Vorik answered, "They were destroyed by your enemy. Not conquered. Erased." The entire room fell silent. Vorik continued, "Your enemy calls themselves the Zevran Dominion. They do not fear strong species. They fear evolving species. Species that change fast. Think fast. Go fast." He pointed at Rylan, and humans are exactly that. Rylan understood suddenly. They want to destroy us before we become a threat. Vorik nodded slowly. "Yes, they fear your potential, your creativity, your strange human ability to rise even after total failure." He stepped closer. "For thousands of years, no species has grown as fast as humans. You create new technology in decades that others take centuries to achieve." Rylan felt a chill run through him. "So the Zevran want to remove us from the galaxy before we get too strong." Vorik growled. "They fear that one day, humanity will stand beside the Araxes. And if that happens, no force in the galaxy will stop us." Rylan suddenly understood everything. The Zevran weren't just trying to win a war. They were trying to stop the future. Before he could speak, Alarms echoed across the warship. A loud voice shouted, "Warning! Zevran fleet detected. They are entering Earth's orbit." Rylan ran to the viewing deck. The sight hit him like a punch. Hundreds, no, thousands of Zevran ships surrounded Earth. Black, sharp, insect-like ships covered the sky. Energy weapons glowed with deadly light. General Mara's voice came through the comms. "Commander Rylan, Earth's shield is failing. We can't hold them." Before Rylan could respond, a massive Zevran supership appeared. Bigger than anything humanity had ever seen. A black triangle with glowing purple veins. Its center held a planet-killer cannon charging energy. When Vorik saw it, his voice dropped to a whisper. "That is impossible." Rylan turned to him. "You know this ship?" Vorik stared at the weapon. "That is the Zevran Eclipse engine. It was banned by every empire for being too dangerous. Only one was ever built. We thought it had been destroyed." Rylan looked at Earth, at the glowing cannon, at the panic on the comms. "Vorik, if they fire that thing." Vorik finished the sentence for him. "Your planet will be gone in seconds." A new voice came through the warship, cold, calm, and filled with hate. The Zevran commander. "Humanity, your time is over. Prepare for extinction." Rylan's heart pounded. He looked at Vorik. Vorik looked back, his eyes glowing with fire. "Commander Rylan," Vorik said, "prepare your soldiers. Prepare your ships. Prepare your courage." He pointed at the Eclipse engine. "That weapon will decide the fate of your species." Rylan nodded, his voice steady. "Then we destroy it." Vorik raised his fist. "And the Araxes will stand with you." The Eclipse engine charged brighter. Earth trembled, and the galaxy waited. The final battle was about to begin. The sky above Earth turned dark as the Zevran Eclipse engine charged its massive cannon. A purple storm of energy crackled across its surface. Lightning-like arcs struck other Zevran ships, powering them as well. Human cities panicked. Sirens screamed. Families hid in underground shelters. Everyone feared the same thing. That Earth was about to disappear forever. Inside the Araxes warship, Rylan stood beside Vorik, his fists clenched, his heart racing like a beating drum. This was the moment everything had led to. Vorik stared at the battlefield. The Zevran want to erase your world. Their fear of humanity has pushed them to madness. Rylan nodded. "Then let's show them why they were right to be afraid." Vorik growled in approval. "Araxes fleets, prepare for war. Humanity, fight beside us." The battle begins. Thousands of Araxes warships roared forward. Their engines glowed red, leaving bright streams of fire behind them. Human ships launched from Earth's surface, joining the battle. For the first time in history, two of the galaxy's strongest species fought side by side. The Zevran opened fire. Beams of purple energy burned through space. Human cruisers dodged. Araxes dreadnoughts absorbed hits. Explosions shook the void. The battlefield looked like a storm of fire and metal. Rylan led a strike team inside a small black shuttle. His mission: destroy the Eclipse engine from the inside. Vorik's elite Araxes warriors joined him. It was humanity and Araxes together, a sight the galaxy had never imagined. The shuttle flew through enemy fire. Zevran drones chased them like swarms of insects. Rylan shouted, "Hold them off. Stay on course." One Araxes warrior leaped out of the shuttle's hatch. He grabbed a drone with his bare hands and crushed it, falling into the burning void without fear. Rylan felt a shock. The Araxes were fighting not for conquest, but for respect, for honor, for humanity. The shuttle slammed into the side of the Eclipse engine. Metal screeched as they cut through its outer layer. When a hatch opened, they stepped into a glowing corridor filled with purple light. Inside the Eclipse engine, Zevran soldiers rushed forward with razor-shaped armor. Their movements were fast, deadly. Rylan's team fought back with everything they had. Blaster fire lit the halls. Explosions shook the ground. The air smelled of burning metal and smoke. One soldier fell wounded. Rylan lifted him up. "We don't leave anyone behind." Arax's warriors heard his words and roared in approval. They formed a protective wall around the humans, their bodies absorbing enemy fire, their armor glowing brighter as they pushed forward. Finally, they reached the core chamber. A gigantic sphere of swirling purple energy pulsed inside. It looked like a miniature collapsing star. If it fired, Earth would be gone. Vorik's voice came through the comms. Rylan, destroy it. Now. Rylan's hands shook. We don't have enough explosives. The Arax's warrior beside him placed a heavy hand on his shoulder. There is another way, he said. Our bodies contain fire cores. If one of us overloads it, the explosion will destroy this weapon. Rylan's eyes widened. That will kill you. The warrior nodded. We fight for those who fight with us. The team stood in silence. Then Rylan said, I will do it. The warrior pulled him back. No, human. Your species needs you, and Vorik chose you. Let me give my fire. Before Rylan could answer, the warrior ran toward the core, his armor glowing red-hot, his body igniting with fire. He shouted one final time, for Araxes and for humanity. The explosion shook the entire ship. A blinding flash ripped through the Eclipse engine. The core cracked, then shattered. The massive weapon collapsed. Its power imploded. Purple energy burst outward like a dying star. Outside, Zevran's ships broke formation in terror. Their most powerful weapon gone. Their courage shattered. Araxes and human fleets crushed them in minutes. A new dawn. The battlefield went silent. Rylan stood on the Araxes warship, exhausted. Earth was still there. Alive. Safe. Vorik placed a massive hand on Rylan's shoulder. You fought with honor. Humanity has earned a place beside us. Rylan looked out at Earth. Smoke rising, but shining blue beneath the clouds. The planet he had sworn to protect. Vorik's voice thundered. From this day forward, humanity is no longer prey. Humanity stands with Araxes. And in that moment, a new chapter of the galaxy began. A chapter written in fire, courage, and unbroken will. Humanity had survived the impossible and risen stronger than ever before. The story of fear had ended, and the story of power had just begun.